Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back to the channel. It's Critic Alex, and today I want to do a quick video on how to play Green King, mostly against Gray Demon, but just how to play as Green King, because it was actually requested by an Alliance member of mine, Anbu, so shout out to him. And I do see players misplaying Green King, and it took me a while to understand how to play Green King, and as a bonus, playing Green King well will help you play other characters well that have the same effect. So the thing with Green King, and it doesn't matter if you have a double Gother team or not, it doesn't really matter the team you have, but with Green King, the goal is to try and save as many of his cards as possible while also building up your alt meter, because he gets 10% crit chance for every orb, and then he gets an additional 50% crit chance when all of the orbs are full. So you'll get 100% crit chance added to whatever your crit chance is when you have a full alt gauge. So it's really important to not play his cards basically at the beginning. Now, in most battles, that will mean that you're going to do less damage in general. Here, I'm going to move one of his cards to build it up. But doing less damage now is okay if you're going to do monster damage later. So all you basically need to do is survive the first few rounds of the fight against this Great Demon, bringing along a healer like Red Elizabeth, or bringing along Green Princess Elizabeth is great because she also builds alt orbs. She gives everyone 2 alt orbs with her alt. Also, you know, Green Merlin with the perfect Q. Pretty much anybody that can heal you or provide some sort of defense is good. Here we are taking a lot of damage, so I am going to have to start to do a little bit more, but you want to... You don't want to play King's cards until you have at least 3 or 4 alt orbs, because you're just not going to crit. Even with Helbram's buffs, you may not crit, and you're honestly better off waiting, as long as you can survive. Now, of course, if survival is an issue, that might not be the case, but keep in mind, if you don't have a lot of lifesteal gear, you might not lifesteal for much. He just lifestole for 800 HP and then 1,000. I'm going to lifesteal for 5,000. That might not end up saving me from the Great Demon if he double taps my King. Hopefully he doesn't, but this is basically the strategy. Obviously, if you have red Gother, if you have 1 or 2 red Gothers, it's even more valuable to save King's cards, because now when we do the rank up here, he's gonna rank up his card, or maybe he's gonna wait for me to rank up mine. Okay, so he's gonna rank up his. So now, because I was saving those King cards, now not only will I have level 3 King cards, but I will have an additional 40 and then an additional 100% crit chance. So you can see that the value here really skyrockets. Yeah, the first few rounds of the fight were slow, but check this out. I'm going to move this card here to be at 100% extra crit chance, and then I'm going to play this level 1 card. Now watch, the difference in damage is staggering. And the good thing about this strategy is it works for any other character that has this type of effect. Look at this. This is the real damage you want. Remember, I was regenning for 1,000? Oh, I just crit for almost 300k, and I regen for 28,000. So there you go. And now the second phase of the fight is over. And this strategy will come in handy as well for Hell mode until we get other strategies like, you know, Green Sexcanor, Green Esterosa. But this is the perfect way to play as King. It's a build up, and then nuke when you have the full bar. So now look. Just a flex, but also just to prove the theory, I'm not even going to use his alt. The damage is so staggering with a Gil Thunder buff, and with level 3 cards, or level 2 cards even, when you have full alt gauge, because it's a guaranteed crit. So that's why you stack crit damage gear on King, and that's why you don't want to play his cards. So in the future, if you have Green King, and you can, of course, in not every situation can you save Green King's cards. I understand sometimes RNG is a bitch and all that, but, you know, Gother or no Gother, the strategy is the same. You want to... Beautiful rewards. You want to save up your King cards until you have at least 2 or 3 alt orbs. Even moving King cards is not a bad idea for Green King. Move around your cards. Build up to at least... I try to aim for at least 3 orbs before I start attacking, because that's going to give me an additional... Thanks, Gucci Dragon. That's going to give me an additional 30% crit chance. And then, of course, it's an extra 100%. You got, you know, 70% waiting for you when you build up those last 2 alt orbs. And it really comes down to understanding how the unique works. It's 10% chance for each orb, and then the last orb actually gives you 60%, because it's 40 and then it jumps to 100. So really building up that as fast as you can. So, you know, bringing Green Merlin is actually good because she also gives you an additional alt orb at the start. So you can synergize Green King with other green units to rush his alt in a sense, not necessarily to even use the ult. You can hold the ult, right? You can hold onto his ult and just keep spamming level 2 and level 3 of his cards and dealing massive damage. I can actually deal more damage by not ulting than I will by ulting, because then once you ult, the next attack will have 0% additional crit chance. So the synergy with diverse samples on her passive is beautiful for Green King. For Green Princess Elizabeth, which you will see a lot of people bring to Gray Demon, of course she provides the healing and the debuff removal on Healing Grace, but the real goal here is that she's going to give everyone 2 ult orbs, which gives King at minimum 20% more crit chance. And if you're at 3 orbs, she's going to give you, 70% crit chance. So that is that's a massive buff. And so, in a lot of cases, if you got a level 2 or level 3, especially the Chastaful card because it has 2 hits, if you have a level 2 or 3 version and you have CS times 2 crit damage, the synergy is just insane to the point where you're going to do more damage. Sure, this has Shatter, but that's why you build Green King for crit damage as well. So part of the strategy, most of the strategy involves holding your ult and building up your ult orbs and holding your cards until you can, use that with max crit, because this has crit damage. But then the second part of the strategy is to actually build up your Green King's crit damage gear. So if you already have a Blue Slater or you already have a Green Jericho, just use the same gear. You can swap gear between those 3 characters. It should be crit damage and attack set. And as you can see, I've got 208% crit damage. This can go higher. You can go to 220. You can go to 230% crit damage if you get more of his cosmetic weapons. And he can do even higher damage. And I'm dealing with a level 60 King. You can go all the way to 75. So you can get even more damage out of him. So I would prioritize, if you are looking for just really fast, really disgustingly good PvE damage, go for the Wooden Spear Chastaful. The 4% crit damage is gonna really help tremendously. The 2%'s not bad, but yeah. Hopefully he gets other cosmetics. He might have a new cosmetic actually coming out with the final Boss King. I don't know if that one has crit damage, but cosmetics with crit damage are really nice because they will facilitate that damage even more. And so you can take this, once you understand this and once you know how to play around it in terms of like holding cards, conserving cards, moving cards around to build ult orbs, you can apply this exact same strategy to other characters in other instances. So a perfect example is Red Gil Thunder. You don't see him in PvP at all. You see lots of Green Gil Thunder, but you can form a really toxic PvP tank team comp by using his passive. He gains 10% resistance for each ult orb, and then his last ult orb gives him 60%, so he has 100% increased resistance. From what I understand, resistance is better than defense in most cases in PvP, so you can create an ultra tanky boy. So what you would do in this case is you could spam Lightning Beast Chase, or you could move it around and combine it, but you probably want to, again, in PvP with Red Gil Thunder, you probably want to hold on to as many of the Lightning King's heavy armor cards as you can, until you have ult gauge, right? Until you've got 3, 4, 5 ult orbs, and then start casting it, right? You could cast 1 to sort of bait out a debuff removal, a buff removal, but it's obviously going to be much more effective to taunt and have damage reduction when you've got 40 or 100% increased resistance, rather than playing it on turn 1 when you have 10% resistance, and then it's much less effective. So this is a really good this is a really good concept to grasp in the game. It's a little bit complicated because you do things that are sort of counterintuitive. You hold on to cards, you don't do DPS, you move cards around just for ult orbs, and it seems sort of like you're wasting time or you're kind of inting, but it ends up being the strategy of choice for multiple characters, and it's especially effective for playing the most effectively as Green King. So hopefully this video has helped you out. Thank you guys so much. If you have other ideas for videos that you want to see that you haven't seen before, or you want me to do a deeper dive into, you can absolutely hit me up in the comments on Twitter, on Discord. Thank you so much for watching. Thanks for the support. Sub if you're not already subbed, and I will see you in the next one. Take care.